all this tahini. It'd be spicy. Well, not spicy, but we are going to be talking about some of my own personal paranormal experiences and even some of the ones that my parents have told me about. Some of these stories is super mother freaking scary, so make sure you grab yourself a blanket, turn on your lights or off if you prefer them off, and grab yourself a drink, because I know I have a drink. I know, I just smacked myself in the nose with the straw. The first story I'm going to tell you guys is one that my father actually told me about when he was, I think he said he was like in his 20s. I think he was younger than that. Who cares? It happened. So this is what happened throughout that experience that they shared. So my father was younger. He was on a date with someone at some bar, club, dancing kind of place. Listen, this is in Mexico. I've never been to Mexico before. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what things look like. So I am just going to explain this the way that I remember it. But they were at this party, right? And everyone was getting drunk. You know what? Everyone gets drunk. You're at a party, you go get a little drunk, especially if it's some kind of celebration. It was some kind of celebration. They got drunk. Long story short, there was no bathroom, right? So in Mexico, apparently when you go out back in the day, bathrooms were like super far away, or buildings didn't even have bathrooms. It was like an outside bathroom, so you had to walk to the outside bathroom or whatever. The friends, him and all his friends decide like, okay, we're gonna take turns going to the bathroom, right? They start taking turns going to the bathroom, going back and forth. When they realize that one of their friends has not come back at all. Go outside, because it's been a while since anyone has heard from this friend. So they go outside to see where this friend is at. When they go outside, the first thing that happens is they hear loud ass screaming from far away. That almost went in my nose. They run. They recognize the yell. It's their friend's yell, and it's coming in the direction where the bathroom is. They run to go get their friend. Their friend is crying hysterically on the floor, screaming, yelling, just acting crazy. Just crazy. But they're like, oh, this bitch is drunk. Like, I don't know what he did. He probably fell. He probably cut himself. He was drunk. He's just acting crazy. But they notice blood. Now they notice that something is very wrong. Something actually happened. This is why this person is screaming, not because they're drunk. They're screaming and crying because they're hurt. They're injured. So they follow the trail, and I don't know. Listen, these people were drunk, but this guy, upon further investigation of their friend's body, they found gashes on his back. Okay, gashes all up on his back. 3 gashes. Deep and bleeding. How did you not notice that? The next day, when this man was sober, cured, bandaged up, he tells his friends that he became sober immediately after his attack. And the culprit of the attack is someone that everyone was very surprised and scared about. So the guy that got attacked goes on to explain that he saw the devil, and the devil was the one that attacked him. There aren't bears in this area, there aren't leopards in this area, there aren't pumas in this area. That's the only thing that could have done a 3 deep gash kind of thing. Like, imagine that shit. Now, I don't know. I believe it. I really believe it. I feel that I've had experiences where I'm a little intoxicated and then I experience something and it sobers me up real quickly, and it's never been anything as bad as this motherfucking story. I don't know. I believe it. What do you guys think? Let's go on with one of my mom's story. This was when she was pregnant with me. Well, this story takes place in Mexico. with my mom and my grandmother both witnessing the event. It's a really weird event. So what my mom says is they were in a little cabin that they were visiting or something. I don't remember what she said about the cabin. I just remember she said it wasn't their cabin. It was somewhere else that they were at. It was not their house. They were visiting someone and they got left alone or some shit like that, okay? It's evening time already, around 4 or 5-ish p.m. And it was winter, so it's starting to kind of get dark earlier throughout the day. They had not eaten and my mom was preggers, so, you know, they kind of had to eat something soon. So while they're thinking about what to make, what to eat, I guess my grandma looks out the window and sees a duck. And she says, "That's what we eating, bitch. We eating a duck." So what does my grandmother do? She runs outside and starts chasing the duck. And my mom follows behind my grandmother because she's got to help her mama get the ducky, right? So my mom says she follows after my grandma and she starts running after my grandma, but she's kind of like observing the duck. And she's realizing that with every step that this duck takes, it grows in size, y'all. I would have died. I would have ran the other motherfucking way. Like, I stopped fucking running and I'm trying to tell my mom to stop running and she won't stop running. Until my grandma also realizes it because the duck gets to like a pig size. Like how do you chase this duck and not realize that it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger? So my mom is trying to call her back and she's like, stop, that's not a duck, that's not a duck. So my grandma stops running. This duck comes up between two trees. It runs up in between the trees and it disappeared in between the motherfucking trees, y'all. So my mom says that they both started yelling at the top of their motherfucking lungs and ran back into the little cabin that they was visiting. But it sounds like the craziest paranormal experiences happen in Mexico and Latin America, and I'm all for it. I need to visit and I need to experience some of these things. Another story that is really creepy that my mom remembers from her childhood, okay? Her childhood is this one. And this one isn't so scary. It's just a little bit creepy. Nothing bad happens. There's not like physical interaction. It's just an observation. But it's still freaking creepy to observe that, okay? So my mom remembers being like 10, 11 years old. She was like, I remember being old enough to like start helping around the house, which was pretty young, right? So my mom says that night they had finished cooking, they cleaned, they were back inside the house. She had showered to go to sleep, to go to bed. And she was asleep. And she remembers my grandmother getting up and going to the living room to look out the window because she heard random sounds, like people walking outside, right? So my mom couldn't sleep. My mom's kind of like me. I guess she's always been the same. And I guess so have I. We have crazy insomnia and we don't sleep much. She follows my grandmother to whatever she's gonna do, right? She didn't know what my grandmother was doing. She just thought she was gonna chill out in the living room or something. She follows my grandmother and she sees my grandmother looking out the window, just kind of like very fixated on something. So my mom goes up and looks out the window and she sees a group of maybe 20 to 30 women in her front yard, in the front of her house, okay? Around a fire pit, holding hands in a circle and dancing and chanting. Now, the scariest part is these bitches disappeared while they was doing that. I would have freaking cried. I would have pissed myself. I would have shat myself. I would have thrown something. I would have probably thrown myself out the window and got myself caught by the ghost or something. Like, that really is super creepy that my mom told me about. Also involves sleeping. And this was when she was older. She said she was probably about 17, 18. At this time in her life, she would babysit some of her nephews a lot. And one of her nephews would actually come sleep over with her and one of my aunts. So this night, you know, the nephew, they shower him, they get him ready. They only had one bed, so it's a twin bed. Yeah, well, I think it's a full bed. So all three of them would sleep in that full bed. My mom, her sister, my aunt, and the nephew. So my mom remembers waking up in the middle of the night, and she was facing away from the other two people in the bed, and she saw someone standing in the doorway, and she thought it was probably my nephew trying to go outside to go to the bathroom. Again, buildings, it was very rare for them to actually have bathroom facilities in their home. Most places, most houses would build a bathroom outside of their home. My mom explains that the bathroom is about half a mile to a mile away from their house. So she gets up and she's like, I'm not about to let him go outside to the bathroom, walk a whole freaking mile to a mile and a half on his own in the dark. So let me get up to go with him. She gets up, y'all. There's no one in the hallway anymore. And she turns around and her nephew is sound asleep in the bed. It's time for the big finale. And it's a story of mine. And of course, I have the scariest story of all of these. It happened to me when I was maybe about 23, 24-ish years old. And I had just recently moved in to this house. I want to say that I was also not the nicest person. I was a completely different person than the person that you see today. So I feel that this is the reason that some of these things happen, because I wasn't really nice. Experienced hundreds of paranormal things, especially me being a medium, like that's a daily kind of thing. Millions probably. But this one was pure evil. I can tell you that it was pure evil. It's kind of crazy too. This all happened, I would say it happened from like September to October. I usually sleep on my stomach, like laying flat down on my face. Well, not flat down on my face, to the side like this, right? Like a normal person. So the first incident, I was laying like that. I was laying down on my stomach and my head was to one side. And I woke up. I was just laying there. I was trying to go back to sleep and I felt someone sit on my bed. And that happens often. It actually just happened last night, so it wasn't something that I was scared of. It was just something like, okay, this is normal. I'm gonna go back to sleep. Anything else about it at all. At all. I would say maybe a couple weeks later, I was actually laying on my side this time, and I wake up and I see someone's face in front of my face. And I close my eyes and I open them back up and there's no one there. Absolutely no one there. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Waking up out of a dream, and I had the dream in my brain, and that's why I saw that face. Just gonna go back to sleep. The third time it happens. The third time it happens, I'm on my side again. And I wake up and I clearly see the face again. This happened probably around the middle of October, a few weeks after the second incident. I close my fucking eyes because I clearly know that someone's in my face. I close my eyes And I slowly grabbed the blankets and I put the blankets over me. I went to sleep, nothing. Woke up and I'm like, that's really weird. Why the fuck is this happening to me? Like, what is going on? The last incident happened, I don't know how many days, but it wasn't even a week after this third incident. This time was really odd because I woke up and I was on my back. I don't sleep on my back because of sleep paralysis. Um, your chances of having sleep paralysis are increased when you're laying on your back, researchers have found. So I don't do that because I get sleep paralysis a lot if I sleep on my back. Unless I'm elevated on something, that's the only way I'm gonna sleep on my back, if I'm elevated on something, right? So I wake up in the middle of the night and this time I'm sleeping on my back and I'm like, this has never happened before. This is not a sleeping position that my body or my brain likes, right? So suddenly that same face comes up. But this time I was able to actually see the features. Okay, maybe not. Here's what happened. I open my eyes, I realize how I'm sleeping, and I'm like, this is really weird. And then out of nowhere, this face comes up from above, like in front of me. Like, it's so weird. It just kind of like slips down. I'm laying down like this, and this face is right here in front of me, like this. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? And it's just long hair covering the face. Maybe not big. I would say like a bob cut kind of hair covering the face, so I can't see the face at all. This bitch grabs her hand and she goes straight for my dick. I yelled. Yelled. I yelled really loud, okay? And I know that this was not sleep paralysis because I've had several episodes of sleep paralysis and I've never been able to yell in an episode of sleep paralysis. I've never been able to move in an episode of sleep paralysis. I was moving, I was yelling, okay? After this bitch realized that she couldn't reach all the way down there, she grabs my throat. And she literally puts her hands around my fucking throat. Oh, this is so scary to think about it. It protects me, but it's so creepy. I am. I have my hands around hers, trying to get her off of me, and I don't know how much time went by, to be honest. It felt like a really long time. And then suddenly I just thought, I need to close my eyes. I'm gonna die. I'm dying right now. I don't know what's taking me, but something's trying to take me. So I close my eyes and I'm about to surrender. And my nieces and my nephew used to live here at that time. So my only prayer was, I hope that the kids don't find my dead body when they come to find me from my room. And the moment that I put that prayer out there, I saw God. I don't know if y'all have seen this. Let me show you. To see what I saw. So go look for this God optical illusion on Google and do it, and that's exactly what I saw. God comes up. I'm watching God with my eyes closed, and I feel the relief off of my throat. Now, my room is right next to the kitchen. So I felt the relief and I feel the energy being pushed off of me, and I hear the bitch in the kitchen trying to come back in. I don't know what happened in that moment. Maybe there was a force field of protection put over me. There was something, but God saved me in that moment. And it's still crazy to think about it when I think about it. And now that I do what I do, it really makes sense. I just needed to do a lot of healing and a lot of ego work in order to get myself out of that negative energy. out of that, whatever the fuck that was. I am 100% protected now, 24/7, and I'm so happy for that. But I don't ever want to experience anything like that ever. So be nice. Put love out into the world. Put positivity out into the world. Otherwise, you might have an experience like me, and I'm telling you right now, you don't fucking want that shit. Subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. See you next time.